Welcome into the Skol Purple podcast, and it is time to dive on into some off-season speculation, if you will. And it is really one of my favorite times of the year because now we can put the grieving behind us and we can look forward to the future, whether it's bad or good or somewhere in between. And to help me do that, my guys, Tony and David, we got the guys back together again, the Fan Express Line crew. And gentlemen, we start with this one because that has been breaking over Twitter the last little while, and that is Adam Thielen feeling underappreciated. The man that apparently cannot get separation in 2022, but he's underappreciated. So we have to talk about it, and let's go ahead and get your thoughts first of all, David. I'm curious to hear your thoughts first. I know you've got quite a bit to say here.
I mean, at first, I'm just not surprised. I mean, the way Thielen acts every time the play does not go his way or he does not get a flag that he thinks he deserves, he acts that way on the field. So he's probably acting that same way in the locker room. And here out in LA, we had a guy named Glenn Rice that was the third player during the Lakers dynasty, and his wife did the same thing. She went in the media and cried and cried and cried about not giving her husband the ball. He won a championship that year, but have you guys even heard anything else from him? No.
Didn't he go to the Hornets?
He started with the Hornets.
He started with
the Hornets, and he was with the Heat, and he won a championship with the Lakers. And after his wife went to the media, demanding, saying that he's open, just passing the ball. He's open. But it was similar to Adam Thielen, where he was basically past his prime. Like, he wasn't Kobe and he wasn't Shaq. Just like in Thielen, he's not JJ and he's not Kirk. So sometimes you just got to be humble and move on. Be a part of something great and not tear it down.
Yeah. Tony, where do you land on Adam Thielen? As a Minnesotan, you are the only Minnesotan amongst us, so I'm sure you're very torn on this.
I'm not really that torn. I think that if he is looking for an offense that's going to be better suited for him, I think he might have to look elsewhere. I just don't think that the Kevin O'Connell offense really caters to his strong suits. I think he, at this stage in his career, where he could still be valuable, would be on short routes where he's able to cook with his footwork and lean on his hand skills, which I do think are still there. But ultimately, he just doesn't have the speed. He's not able to get in and out of cuts as fast as he used to. And with the amount of coverage that should be rolling over to Justin Jefferson, it just tells me that he doesn't quite have enough athletic ability anymore to take advantage of single coverage. So what that means is that I think he could be maybe a good possession receiver. Like I said, in a West Coast scheme, comes to mind maybe a place like the 49ers, take a chance on an Adam Thielen. I think the issue is, for the Vikings, he is owed so much money still. His dead cap hit is, I think, 13 plus million. And, the gripe that we heard from his wife, and certainly it's fine, everybody has their opinion, I'm not ragging on anybody, but was that he wanted to have opportunities, or he needs the opportunities, and essentially, I'm paraphrasing, he wasn't given enough here in Minnesota this year. So I think if he's looking for that, he probably will have to go elsewhere. I don't know if he's on this Vikings team. It kind of feels like he may test the waters somewhere else, if he ends up becoming a cap casualty. But again, I think we're only going to save about $6 million in cap space if we decide to cut him, because I think he's owed 19. If we cut him, his dead cap's 13. So I don't know. I think where he has the most value, Carson, might be in his veteran leadership, but per the words that seem to be maybe being funneled through his wife, maybe that veteran leadership isn't exactly up to the same level that we thought it would be.
Not quite as veteran leader as we may have thought. But I think the point of this whole thing is I think Adam Thielen's value in the Vikings offense went down when they traded for TJ Hawkinson, because TJ Hawkinson literally replaced Adam Thielen as the number 2 target on this offense. And I think it's rightfully so, because TJ came in here and he was like the second and first in some of the categories among tight ends when he came in here for the final 11. It was week 11 till the end of the season, and a big performance against the Giants in the postseason as well. And I don't know if Adam Thielen puts up those kind of numbers if it was left to him. And I honestly, we could be talking about the Vikings in a different way if it wasn't for TJ Hawkinson and his contributions to the offense. So I think Adam Thielen became the third, and a lot of times I'd even say once Hawkinson got here, the fourth option on this offense behind KJ Osborne, even, which I know David has talked about at length on here, which I agree. I think we're at that point. I still think KJ is a number 3 if you have a number 2 that's really good. But I think in the current scheme right now, KJ Osborne scheme of things, I should say, I think KJ Osborne's the number 2 wide receiver, but I would say that TJ Hawkinson is probably the number 2 target. But I can't necessarily blame the Thielens in the sense of wanting to squeeze out every ounce of play that he has left to get as much money as they can before he has to retire. Because let's face it, like Adam Thielen's made good money, but I don't think he's made the amount of money like, let's say, a Justin Jefferson will in a year or two. Like Justin Jefferson's going to get paid, and Adam Thielen has not had the opportunity to earn what Justin Jefferson's going to. Probably in one, I haven't looked at Adam Thielen's contract, but I'm guessing it'll only take 1 or 2 years of Justin Jefferson on his new extension to eclipse Adam Thielen's entire career of earnings. But I do think I respect that aspect of it, where it's them just looking out for their own good and trying to, better themselves, better the family in the future, leave money for grandkids, great grandkids, whatever, But yeah, I mean, if you're going on talent, I think Adam Thielen is definitely number 4 on this offense right now. And yeah, and honestly, I think that's where he performed at that kind of level this season, which again, it's sad to say because he's a future Ring of Honor candidate, I would say. And he's done some good things for the organization, but yeah, I mean, there's numerous fits that he's thrown. I kind of get sick of those myself, where it's Adam Thielen just complaining about being held. But the separation statistics, those aren't fake. Those are real. Like, he can't get separation anymore. And whether he thinks it's them holding or not, apparently it's not, because he hasn't been getting many holding calls this year. So not that necessarily proves anything, but I think Adam Thielen's time. I think after this came out, I'm about 95% sure Adam Thielen is not going to be a Viking next year. Where would you guys put a percentage on it? Tony, I'll start with you.
If I had to put a percentage on it, I'm going to say there's about a 35% chance that I think Thielen is a Viking. I think it's about a good 65% chance that he plays elsewhere. And just to add a wrinkle here, so David, when we pass it over to you for your percentage, I'd love to hear your response, and certainly Carson, you can weigh in on this as well. Something I just thought of while we were talking. Thielen, when he was playing with Diggs, and really the peak of Thielen's career up to this point, we always viewed, and the media always spun them as a tandem, where it was the duo of Thielen and Diggs. And you'll notice that when Justin Jefferson, really started to show out, it was never a tandem. It was JJ, and then there was Thielen, and JJ was the number 1. Thielen was the number 2. And I'm just wondering, and I don't think that's wrong, I think that's right, but I'm wondering if maybe now some of that has started to, Chap is behind a little bit. Maybe he's like, hey, I'm still here. I think I'm talented. And you've just had me sitting here in the shadows for, a few years. And, maybe in a way he's not used to dealing with really being truly second fiddle. So just a thought there.
David?
Yeah, I would say 50% considering the contract situation. We always got to put the money in play because you're not saving a lot just outright cutting him. So you might have to make him a little happy by restructuring his contract, letting him play it out, and giving him some of that money up front so he can be happy. And speaking about the money, it could be about escalators within his contract. What if he didn't meet the catches that he needed to get 100,000 or something like that? Just like what Carson said, like you're trying to squeeze Minnesota for everything that they got at this point. So it could be a lot of things too, but I do agree with Tony. Basically, when it was Diggs and Thielen, it was Diggs and Thielen. Now it's just JJ and everybody else, And I think so too is like with the media, just to piggyback on Tony, it's like we're talking about JJ making these crazy catches, right? Stephon Diggs will always be a Minnesota hero because of the Minnesota Miracle, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to talk about? The play that Adam Thielen did with the Saints, and then they get, routed the next week. We're not talking about an Adam Thielen catch. We're not. There's nothing really him to hold on to.
Yeah. I think that Saints catch, and that's 3 years ago. That's 3 years ago already. Like, what are we talking about? And, Adam Thielen he's had like, you can count on one hand how many 100-yard games he's had since like 2018. It's like, what? You can't just say that the production hasn't been there. And he was still a number one receiver for a couple of those years, or number two by Diggs. But even when Justin Jefferson was a rookie, like, he wasn't the number one target. So like, to me, that's telling me that Adam Thielen just doesn't have it anymore. So.
And what you said though, Carson, makes a lot of sense. And I just thought about it when you were talking about it, that if JJ is the number one option, so that means he's getting a DB that's jamming him on the line and a safety over the top. So that middle of the field is open for, TJ to do his business, and he's been doing it. And then you have KJ on the outside. So that means the fourth guy on the defense is playing against Thielen, and he's still not getting separation. He should be cooking that guy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, I think that is going to do it for our Adam Thielen talk here. We could go on probably for a little bit longer, but we have some more videos coming your way. So make sure to stay tuned to the Skol Purple Podcast YouTube channel. And as always, Skol.